I'm about to expose the exact email I used to get a placement with Nicki Minaj and NBA YoungBoy on a Billboard #1 album, so you guys can literally just copy it. But honestly, if I was to send this again today, there's a few things I'd do to make it even better. So let's get right into the video. Started off with me sending out a starter. Soon I'll include the big email that I sent to a big list of people. But the reason why I wanted to bring this up is because, as you can see, I said, forgot I ever sent this, it sucked. And then Benji, who finished the loop, was like, wait a minute, like, let me try something. And I think this is such a valuable lesson because sometimes you can doubt yourself or you can overthink things and you don't take action. And without knowing it, you've lost so much. I can see actually there's a 2-hour gap between these messages. If I never sent that, then I never would have got this placement. I never would be making this video. So if your stuff's already at a certain level where you know you're pretty decent, or maybe you make a loop that's like 95% good or 90% good compared to your like 100% full potential, still send it out. Because what's gonna hurt you more, what's riskier for your career is not taking action. It's not sending out the starter. So I just wanted to say this really quickly. This doesn't matter. This was just a starter that I sent, so I'm not gonna be analyzing this too much, but I wanted to start off the video with that. Now let's get into the actual email that I sent. So as you can see here, this is the subject title. Now, the only thing that I would change, I'm a bigger fan of having the Instagram username rather than this. So I would do @wayvbeats now, but I wouldn't change the subject title too much. I like having the guitar emoji because I feel like it's kind of stands out in people's email lists and then they know like they're getting guitar loops. Probably doesn't matter that much, but it's just something that I've always done. Something that's worth noting for subject lines is if people are unfamiliar with you and your sound, it's good to mention what you're actually sending in the email. So if you're sending, let's say in this case, guitar loops, maybe mention an artist that would work on it or mention the fact that they're guitar loops in the subject line. Because if people aren't familiar with you and they're scrolling through their loop list, if they see a name that's unfamiliar, they're not gonna click. But if they see guitar loop, like crazy guitar loop or something, or crazy guitar pack, and they need guitar stuff, even though they don't know you, they're still gonna check it out. But that's just a bit of food for thought for you guys. Now let's move on from the subject title and we'll talk about this here. So I've BCC'd a list of people and I hope this doesn't fucking leak anyone's email. I just wanted to mention this because I now use Mail Suite, which is an email tool, and I send out campaigns instead of BCC. Now, what's the difference? A campaign sends emails individually to each recipient, and it gives you really good data you can use. For example, if John is one guy that's on your list, it's gonna tell you how many times John opened, rather than it just being a bit of a clump of information. It also helped with deliverability, so it prevents landing in spam. There's a bit more that you have to do to prevent spam. I'll talk about that later on in the video. And it also feels a lot more personalized, right? When you receive a BCC, it's a bit different to it just going to you. It feels a bit more personalized. But for me, the main thing with Mail Suite, as you can see here, is it gives me very good data as to what's happening. I can split test different send out times, different captions, and I can know who's opening what, who's using stuff. It's just very helpful information rather than just shooting in the dark and hoping to send out an email and be like, oh, people will open it. I used to have the thought process like, if I get a placement, someone will tell me about it, so I don't need to track open rate. It is kind of true, but it's like, wouldn't you rather know what's going on? Maybe you're sending out the best samples ever and your open rate is at 0% because it's all going to spam, but you didn't even know because you're too lazy to get Mail Suite. Now, next we have the actual content of the email. So one thing I'd change here is I would add some social proof in the email. And this is simply just credit, who you've produced for. This is more so for the people who aren't familiar with your work. Now you might be thinking, oh, well, people are familiar with my work. There's a million fucking loop makers. People don't care about you as much as you think. So just shove your accomplishments in people's faces. You may as well. This is a game of credibility. If you have placements, if you've gone Billboard, if you've gone platinum, let people know because that might be the difference between them using your loops and not using. That might be the difference between them opening the email and not opening the email. So you want to do anything you can to put the odds in your favor. So definitely recommend doing that. Now I do like having this like previous packs thing. If they like the loops in that pack, then they can access the other packs. It makes kind of logical sense, but some people don't do this. So I think that's also important. And then I have the previews here. So I would do more than 2 previews. I'll do as many MP3 attachments as you can before you get that weird, annoying Google Drive thing where it's like you have to click on Google Drive to access the file. Normally that's like 3 or 4 loops in my experience. Now previews are underrated because it reduces the amount of steps that people have to take to listen to what's inside of the email, right? Clicking an email and then clicking a Dropbox link is more effort than clicking an email and being able to listen to stuff straight away. So whilst it seems like such a small game, I see producers, they just have a Dropbox link in the email. And it's like, bro, some people just aren't bothered. Some people are lazy. Like you have to make it as easy as possible. So why not show off the best samples in your pack and like get them front and center? And then if they like them, then they will click the link. But yeah, I know for the contents of emails, people like to do their BMI or their number and stuff. Like in case we get a placement, let me know. I think that's kind of stupid in my opinion, because it's like, obviously they're gonna let you know if you get a placement. You know what I mean? Like you can kind of sort that shit out later. That's just like my opinion. It doesn't really matter. Okay, the last thing I want to say in regards to helping with spam. So I've actually been doing some research on email stuff. Check your open rate through MailSuite, and if it's cooked, you might want to start a new domain. Might want to make a new email, but warm it up. Don't make a new email and then just start sending to like 500 people on that day. So you can do it one of two ways. You can do it manually, so you start sending like 1 email a day, and then you start sending like 5 emails a day, and then by the time it hits a month, you can start sending. Or you can pay a software to do it for you. So I'm using something called LemWarm, and that's in charge of warming up a domain that I use for my email marketing. Not this email, but a different email. Yeah, it's super important. People don't think about open rates, but like if your open rate goes from 25% to 50%, double the people using your loop, double the chances of getting a placement, double the amount of BeatStars sales. So it's important, right? You don't want to overlook this. What I'm also going to say about spam, so as you can see here, mail delivery problem. So this happens when the email gets full, or if you put in the wrong email. And if you're stacking lots of these and you're not getting rid of the people from your list, then you're going to get fucked. Like Gmail are just going to think you're spamming or you're doing some shit, and that's going to hurt you a lot. So right when you see this mail delivery incomplete, get rid of this email from your list, and then you can just message the guy. If they're still active and they're still produced, then you can just message them and be like, hey bro, have you got a new email? You need to do that. Or if you kind of just know the guy's like quit, sometimes producers just quit, and you can just leave it. Now there's a few more things that I don't really have time to say in this video, but I tell people inside Chart Chasers, which is my private one-on-one mentorship program. So you guys can check that out, a link in the description. And really quickly, the truth is the best email templates or the highest open rates aren't gonna save you if you're sending to the wrong people or your loops aren't there yet. So I recently made a video about why you're not getting placements, the honest truth. And I'm talking about common pitfalls that advanced producers make and beginner producers make, which holds them back from getting placement. So this video doesn't work without this video. So definitely go check out this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later.